In just 14 days, one of gaming's most prominent content creators experienced a spectacular downfall that serves as a powerful reminder of what happens when you betray your community's trust. Jason Thor Hall, known as Pirate Software, lost over 100,000 YouTube subscribers after taking a stance that many viewed as fundamentally anti-consumer. This isn't just a story about numbers declining on a screen. This is a story about justice, accountability, and how a community stood up to protect their rights when someone they trusted tried to undermine them. The catalyst for this dramatic fall was Hall's opposition to the Stop Killing Games movement, a crucial consumer rights initiative that seeks to protect gamers from having their purchased products destroyed by corporate greed. When Hall decided to use his platform to attack this movement, he made a catastrophic miscalculation that would cost him his reputation and reveal his true priorities. To understand why Hall's betrayal was so shocking, we need to examine how he built his empire and why his audience trusted him in the first place. Jason Thor Hall positioned himself as a champion of game developers and the gaming community. Born on July 17, 1987, Hall leveraged his background in the gaming industry to build credibility and authority that he would later abuse. Hall's career began at Blizzard Entertainment, where he worked for over 6 years on some of the most beloved games in history, including World of Warcraft, StarCraft II, and Diablo 3. Starting as a game tester at 16, he eventually earned the title of Senior Red Team Specialist. This impressive resume gave him the technical credibility that would later make his betrayal of consumer rights so damaging. After leaving Blizzard, Hall founded Pirate Software, an indie game studio based in Tacoma, Washington. His transition to content creation seemed like a natural evolution of his passion for gaming. His Twitch streams attracted tens of thousands of viewers who came to learn about game development, watch him play games, and benefit from his industry insights. His YouTube channel grew to over 2 million subscribers, making him one of the most trusted voices in gaming content creation. What made Hall particularly dangerous was his unique combination of technical expertise and entertainment value. He wasn't just another streamer playing games for views. He was educating his audience about game development, sharing insider knowledge, and positioning himself as someone who understood both the technical and business sides of the industry. This authority would later be weaponized against his own community. For years, Hall built his brand on the idea that he was different from the corporate gaming industry. He presented himself as someone who understood the struggles of both developers and players, someone who could bridge the gap between the two communities. His audience trusted him because they believed he shared their values and would advocate for their interests when it mattered most. But that trust was about to be shattered in the most public and devastating way possible. The catalyst was Hall's decision to oppose the Stop Killing Games movement, a consumer advocacy initiative that represented everything his audience believed in: fairness, consumer rights, and the preservation of gaming culture. The Stop Killing Games movement emerged from a growing crisis in the gaming industry. Publishers were increasingly designing games that would become completely unplayable when official support ended. Unlike traditional products that retain their functionality even after the manufacturer stopped supporting them, these games were deliberately designed to self-destruct when their servers were shut down. This practice represented a fundamental violation of consumer rights. When someone purchases a game, they should own that game. They should be able to play it, preserve it, and pass it on to future generations. But the gaming industry had developed a business model based on planned obsolescence, where products were designed to become worthless at the publisher's discretion. The movement was spearheaded by Ross Scott of Accursed Farms, a content creator who understood the importance of game preservation and consumer rights. Scott recognized that the industry's current practices were not just anti-consumer, but potentially illegal. When publishers sell a product and then deliberately destroy it, they are engaging in what amounts to theft. The Stop Killing Games initiative focused on challenging this practice through legal and regulatory channels. The movement launched a European Union petition aimed at gathering 1 million signatures to force the European Parliament to consider legislation protecting consumer rights in gaming. The proposed regulations would require publishers to provide some form of continued functionality for games after official support ended. The movement gained momentum through high-profile cases that demonstrated the real harm caused by current industry practices. The Crew, a racing game published by Ubisoft, became a rallying point for the campaign when the company shut down its servers, making the game completely unplayable for everyone who had purchased it. Players who had spent hundreds of hours building their virtual car collections suddenly found themselves locked out of content they had paid for. The Stop Killing Games movement struck a chord with gamers who had experienced this frustration firsthand. The petition quickly gained traction, attracting support from players, developers, and industry figures who understood the importance of game preservation. The movement represented hope that the industry could be held accountable for its anti-consumer practices, but not everyone supported the initiative. Some industry figures, particularly those with close ties to major publishers, began pushing back against the movement. They argued that the proposed regulations would be too burdensome, too expensive, or too technically challenging to implement. These arguments revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of what the movement was actually trying to achieve. It was into this critical moment that Jason Thor Hall decided to intervene, and his intervention would prove to be one of the most damaging attacks on consumer rights in recent gaming history. In August 2024, Hall published a YouTube video titled "Stop Killing Games," in which he outlined his opposition to the movement, using his technical expertise to lend credibility to fundamentally flawed arguments. Hall's video was a masterclass in corporate apologism disguised as technical analysis. He argued that the Stop Killing Games movement was based on a misunderstanding of how online games work, suggesting that the technical challenges of game preservation were insurmountable. He raised concerns about security, costs, and the potential impact on innovation, all while ignoring the fundamental principle at stake: consumer rights. What made Hall's arguments particularly insidious was their technical sophistication. He used his genuine expertise in game development to create the appearance of authority while making arguments that served corporate interests rather than consumer rights. He suggested that requiring publishers to preserve games would stifle innovation, increase costs, and create security vulnerabilities. These arguments were not just wrong, they were deliberately misleading. The Stop Killing Games movement had never asked for publishers to maintain games indefinitely or to solve every technical challenge. The movement simply asked that publishers not actively destroy products they had sold to consumers. There's a fundamental difference between letting something decay naturally and deliberately sabotaging it. Most importantly, Hall's arguments completely ignored the legal and ethical dimensions of the issue. Even if there were technical challenges to game preservation, that wouldn't justify the current practice of deliberately destroying products that consumers have purchased. The difficulty of solving a problem doesn't make it acceptable to ignore the problem entirely. The response to Hall's video revealed the true sentiment of the gaming community. Supporters of the Stop Killing Games movement immediately recognized Hall's arguments as corporate propaganda designed to undermine legitimate consumer advocacy. They accused him of being a shill for the gaming industry, more concerned with protecting publisher profits than defending the rights of the players who had made his career possible. Ross Scott, the creator of the Stop Killing Games movement, responded with a detailed video addressing Hall's criticisms. Scott methodically dismantled Hall's arguments, showing how they misrepresented the movement's goals and ignored the fundamental principles at stake. Scott's response was measured, factual, and devastating in its clarity. Scott pointed out that Hall's technical objections were largely irrelevant to the movement's actual goals. The Stop Killing Games initiative wasn't asking for perfect solutions to every technical challenge. It was asking for basic respect for consumer rights. Scott also highlighted how Hall's arguments echoed talking points commonly used by industry lobbyists to resist consumer protection regulations. But Hall refused to back down. Instead of acknowledging the validity of Scott's response or reconsidering his position, Hall doubled down on his opposition to the movement. He continued to produce content attacking the Stop Killing Games initiative, using his platform and credibility to spread misinformation about what the movement was trying to achieve. The situation reached a critical point in June 2025 when the Stop Killing Games petition achieved its goal of 1 million signatures. This milestone represented a massive victory for consumer advocacy in gaming, demonstrating that the community was united in demanding basic rights and protections. It should have been a moment for celebration and reflection on the power of grassroots organizing. Instead, Hall chose this moment to intensify his attacks on the movement. Rather than acknowledging the significance of reaching 1 million signatures or recognizing the legitimate concerns of his audience, Hall posted content suggesting that the movement's success was misguided and potentially harmful. This tone-deaf response revealed just how disconnected he had become from the community that had supported him. Hall's continued opposition to the Stop Killing Games movement, after it had achieved such clear popular support, was seen as a final betrayal by his audience. The message was clear. Hall valued his relationships with industry insiders more than the rights of the consumers who had built his career. This realization triggered an immediate and devastating backlash. The subscriber exodus began on June 26, 2025, when Hall lost 20,000 subscribers in a single day. This wasn't just a statistical anomaly, it was a coordinated rejection of Hall's anti-consumer stance by a community that had finally seen his true colors. The numbers told a story of betrayal and accountability that would continue for weeks. Day after day, thousands of viewers who had once trusted Hall's content decided they could no longer support someone who actively worked against their interests. The subscriber count continued to plummet as word spread about Hall's opposition to consumer rights. By July 9, 2025, Hall had lost over 110,000 subscribers, representing a massive rejection of his anti-consumer stance. But the damage extended far beyond subscriber numbers. The controversy began affecting Hall's business relationships and professional opportunities, demonstrating the real-world consequences of betraying your community's trust. On July 3, 2025, Hall announced that he would be stepping away from Off-Brand Games, a publishing company he had been working with. This decision came after the company's games began receiving negative reviews from users who were angry about Hall's stance on consumer rights. The review bombing campaign demonstrated how Hall's betrayal had consequences that extended beyond his own career, affecting innocent developers who had the misfortune of being associated with him. Hall's response to the crisis revealed his complete failure to understand what he had done wrong. Rather than apologizing for his attacks on consumer rights or attempting to make amends with his community, Hall continued to defend his position and even suggested that the controversy had actually helped the Stop Killing Games movement by giving it more publicity. This response demonstrated a fundamental disconnect between Hall and his audience. He seemed to believe that any publicity was good publicity, failing to understand that his opposition to the movement had been genuinely harmful and that his audience's anger was justified. His inability to take responsibility for his actions only further damaged his reputation. Hall's fall from grace represents more than just one content creator's career implosion. It illustrates the power of consumer advocacy and the consequences that await those who betray their community's trust. The gaming community had sent a clear message. They would not tolerate attacks on their rights, even from figures they had previously respected. The incident also demonstrates the effectiveness of grassroots organizing in the digital age. The Stop Killing Games movement had not only achieved its goal of 1 million signatures, but had also successfully held accountable someone who had tried to undermine their efforts. This represented a significant victory for consumer advocacy and a warning to others who might consider similar attacks. The story of Hall's dramatic fall serves as an inspiration to consumer advocates everywhere. It shows that communities can successfully challenge those who would betray their trust, even when those individuals have significant platforms and industry connections. The 100,000 subscribers who abandoned Hall's channel represent a community that refused to be silenced or misled. This controversy will likely be remembered as a turning point in the fight for consumer rights in gaming. It has shown that the gaming community is willing to hold even its most respected figures accountable when they take positions that harm consumer interests. The message is clear. In the battle between corporate interests and consumer rights, the community knows which side justice is on. Jason "Thor" Hall learned the hard way that betraying your community's trust has consequences. His fall from grace serves as a warning to others who might consider similar betrayals and as an inspiration to consumer advocates who refuse to be silenced. The Stop Killing Games movement continues to fight for consumer rights, stronger than ever after surviving this attack on their legitimacy.